Hello. It is Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker, and it is Mindset Monday. Come on in. Let's do a midday check and see how your mindset is, see how you are doing today. Today, I really want to focus on self esteem and give you some questions and a worksheet that you can use to check your esteem, where you can really be honest with yourself and get a good feel, get a grip on how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself. What are the automatic messages that are playing in your head about you? Once you know what those are, then you can do. Hi, Brandon. Once you know what those are, then you are able to do some work to rewrite them if necessary. If you figure out that the things that you feel about yourself are things that are holding you back, that there are things that keep you from trying the things that you'd really like to have in life, you either feel like you're not capable or you're not deserving of those things. That's a mindset thing. It has nothing to do with what's going on around you, nothing to do with what's happening externally. So we want to be aware. The more aware you are of your own thoughts, and then you can reframe them so that they're working for you instead of holding you back. So today I have a checklist that I created that will help you to check in with yourself, see what your self-esteem level is like. And if you don't like what you find, then I've got a free course that you can take that helps you to start to really work with transforming your inner critic into your inner advocate. Because I firmly believe that if we do the inner work, some of the magnitude of the external starts to fall away. We are only susceptible to what's going on around us, the things that are being said about us, if we believe them, if we buy into them, if we give them credence. So I've had people say very mean things to me, especially on TikTok lives, but it doesn't bother me because for one, they don't know me. So their opinion is what, why would I put so much into that? But two, I know me. That's what really matters. I know myself. I know my value. I know what I'm worth. My mindset has been worked on, and it's a work in progress. It'll never be done, but I listen to what I say about myself. And I discovered a few years ago that it wasn't so nice. The things that I was saying and feeling about myself, I would never say to somebody else. I would never be that mean to another individual. But we go around subconsciously beating ourselves up all the time. And sometimes we're not even aware of it. So it's my goal, it's my hope, it's my dream that I can say something, that I can provide something to you that's going to help you tap into those automatic messages, and you have the tools necessary to rewrite them so that you do start to value yourself, really believe in yourself, really understand that you deserve the life that you desire and you're capable of creating it. Once you believe that, then you're going to start acting accordingly. And if you act accordingly, things will change. Our biggest problem is we want things differently, but we keep doing the same stuff, right? If you want something different, you've got to be willing to do things differently. And so that's what I want to help us tap into. I really want us to tap into that so that the work that you need to do, you're aware of it. And then you've got a process. You have a way to start to work through those things, reframe those inner thoughts, rewrite them, become your own best advocate instead of just a critic of yourself. So I'm going to share with you guys. I created this self-esteem checklist a while back. It's a freebie. It's something that I give away along with some other things to people who join my mailing list. I've got a private Facebook group and a mailing list. But this is something that I want everybody to have, whether you're a part of those things or not. Here it is. It's right there in front of you. And just like I said, although I've done some work, I really have done some hard work to rewrite and to reframe my inner messaging. But it's a lifelong journey. It's something that you work on all the time. We're always getting these external cues. There's the world telling us what we should look like, how we should dress, where we should work to be valuable, the types of things that are good versus the types of things that are bad. And all that stuff is just spinning around out there. But a lot of it you don't even hear. But it's the things that you grab a hold of and you decide that they're true, that can trip you up and really hold you back. So I want us to work through this checklist. If anybody would like for me to actually shoot you the list, just DM me and I'll send you the link to it so you can have it for yourself. You can probably take a screenshot and get it. If you don't want to share your personal information, I'm fine with that as well. But I want you to use this as a tool to evaluate your progress and to really identify areas where you can improve your self-esteem. And so it's just a list of questions and statements, and it's personal. This is your list for you to use in your own private time. You don't have to share the answers with anybody. The answers belong to you, and they're for information purposes only. It's not for you to judge yourself even more. It's not for you to beat yourself up. I can't believe I'm thinking this way. It's okay, because once you have the facts, you've got a starting point, and that you've got some place to work from, and you can measure your improvement. You can always come back to this in a month, come back to it in 6 months, come back to it in a year, and see if your answers have changed. That's a way that you can easily measure the progress that you're making as you work on your inner self. So the first question: do you accept and value yourself for who you are, including your strengths and weaknesses? Good morning, mother, or good afternoon. Thanks for joining. Do you accept and value yourself for who you are? Strengths and weaknesses, positive and negative, however it is you want to put it. For me, I don't think too much about strengths and weaknesses. I mean, weaknesses are just opportunities for us to improve. Once you identify an area that you'd like to be stronger in, there's your opportunity for improvement. That's all it is. It's not something to be ashamed of, not something to beat yourself up. But can you look at those things? I know what I'm good at. I also know what I'm not so good at. But I can tag a yet on that thing quickly and change my mindset about it. If it's something that I'm not good at, but it's something I'd really like to improve, instead of me just saying I can't do that, oh, I haven't mastered that yet, but here's what I can do to improve. It's a different way of thinking about it. If you tag that yet on the end, you're still hopeful. There's still possibilities. If you just say, I'm not good at it, that's a period. You're at a stop sign, end of story. There's nowhere to go from there. But if you say, I don't have these skills yet, or even I'm not good at it yet, but it's something that I intend to work on, and here's how I'm going to go about it, then you still leave the door open for you to improve that skill. It's not an all or nothing situation. We can improve anything. Some people are naturally gifted at things. Like my mom just joined. She can sing. She is a naturally gifted singer. She has sang her whole life. Me, on the other hand, for whatever reason, she didn't decide to share that gift with me. I cannot. However, over the years, because I enjoy music so much, I'm better than I used to be. I can hear a little bit better. I can hear when I'm flat. I can hear, when I'm harmonizing. I can hear when I need to be quiet because I'm messing up the whole thing. So it's something that I can improve at, but it's not likely that I'll ever be as good as she is, because it's a personal talent. It's a gift that she was born with. And she got to choose whether or not she was going to continue to work on that gift or not. But for me, that's not a gift. I'm not gifted in that area. But it is a skill that I can improve on. There are plenty of people around who teach you. They help you learn how to hold a note. They help you learn how to breathe through it. All these different skills that are not natural to me that she just knows how to do. I'm sure if I work with her a little bit, she could make me better. I'm assuming. I'm not a good singer yet, but I can improve. So that's, just practicing what we're talking about. So that's what I mean. Can you accept the things that you're already good at versus the things that you need to improve on? If you can, it's not detrimental. It's not saying anything bad about you. It's not assassinating your character. Here just happens to be an area in my life that I can improve. It's nothing more than that, regardless of what it is. Do you respect yourself, your opinions, and your boundaries? Now, one thing about boundaries is you have to set them. However, you cannot make anybody actually adhere to them. You set them, You articulate them. And then if you notice that after you've articulated them, there are people in your life that continue to trample all over them, then you've got to do the work. You have to evaluate whether or not those are people that you still want to interact with as much as you do. They may be somebody that you're connected to, so you can't completely not interact, but you can lessen it. You can make them aware that they're crossing your boundaries. The person who has to respect you the most is you. The rest of the world's going to line up behind you. If you don't respect yourself, if your yes isn't a yes and your no isn't a no, then as soon as you say something, the people who are listening to you just think they haven't negotiated well enough yet. They haven't convinced you yet because you've told them that you're not 10 toes down, standing firm about what it is you say. Let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. And you have to practice it. It's not easy, especially if you're somebody like me. I love to make people happy. So when you ask me to do something, it's a little difficult for me to say no. It's gotten easier over the years because I've realized that giving away all those yeses was taking away from things that I needed to do for myself. Eventually I got to a point in my life where I mattered. I mattered to me. And because I matter to me, how I answer someone's request may be different. It's not an automatic yes. It has to be evaluated against the things that I need to do. And then I can determine whether or not it's a good idea for me to go forward. So let your yes be yes and your no be no. Know your boundaries. And it's not enough for them to just be in your head. You can't get mad at me for crossing a boundary that I don't realize exists. So we have to have a conversation. If I trip over your boundary, hopefully we've got enough of a relationship that you can share that with me. You can say, "Hey, Cassandra, when I don't like it when you say this thing that you did, this thing that you say makes me uncomfortable." And if we have a mutually respectful relationship, I'm going to be quiet and hear where I've tripped over it. I'm going to apologize and say it wasn't my intention. But then the most important thing I'm going to do is try to shift my behavior so that I don't offend you again. That's how good relationships go. Now, it's difficult. I hope not to run into somebody whose feelings are just everywhere. And it's hard to not poke one because they're so charged up all the time. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're always offended, everybody's offending you in one way or the other, the common denominator may be you. It may be time for you to do some self work and go, am I processing things from a negative place? Am I taking what everybody says and flipping it into something offensive because it's the way I'm taking it, maybe not the way they mean it? So you do have to be cognizant of both sides of that thing, but you have the right to have boundaries, set your boundaries, and then you need to respect your boundaries because that's the only way that other people will. All right. Are you able to make decisions and take responsibility for the outcomes? Man, that's a leader. That's an adult. That's somebody who's mature. You make a decision and maybe things work out beautifully. When things work out beautifully, you get the roses. You're the ones that the crowd's applauding. Oh, good job. But sometimes things don't work out the way we would like. What do you do in that situation? Do you try and back out of your decision? Do you try to make excuses? Do you try and pin it on somebody else? Oh, well, if so and so hadn't told me this, I wouldn't have done that. Those are behaviors that say that you have your actions and your outcomes connected so closely to who you are and your goodness as a person, your value as a person, that you're not in a position to where you can make a mistake. That's a horrible place to live. Everybody makes mistakes. I don't care how good we are. We will make mistakes. And when we're really good, we will learn from those mistakes so that it's not a wasted experience. Learn from it and you're okay. It hasn't been wasted. You can make some adjustments, you know better the next time. But what a lot of us do when our self-esteem is not where it needs to be, we don't even give ourselves the opportunity to make mistakes. We won't look at them when we do because we're embarrassed by them. We're ashamed. We want to push it down. We don't want anybody to know that it happened. So not only am I not learning from the mistake, but I'm not even allowing those around me to learn either because I'm trying to hide this thing. Mistakes are valuable. There's so much information packed in them if we're just willing to take the lessons. Nobody wants to go around and go, "Oh, I failed at this. I made this mistake. I made that mistake." It's not like you're looking to make a mistake, but if you're not making any, you're probably not doing much. You're not stretching yourself. You're just doing the things that you know that you're good at. So you're not learning, you're not stretching. We learn so much when things go awry if we allow ourselves to. And that's all a mistake is, an opportunity to learn. So make sure that you think enough of yourself to give yourself the space to make a mistake and to learn from it. Good. Hey, Franny, how are you? Thanks for joining. Let's see. Do you have realistic goals for yourself and believe in your ability to accomplish them? So, first of all, are your goals realistic? I've talked to you guys about SMART goals before. They need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be attainable, they need to be relevant, and they need to be time based. That's a real goal versus a dream. They have those elements to it. But do you believe that you can actually do it? Because if you don't, you're right. If you do, you're right. If you believe that you can do it, you'll roll up your sleeves and you'll start to do the work to figure it out. If you believe that it's not something that you're capable of or something that you deserve, you're not going to even try it. You're not going to do the work to figure it out. And so you're stuck right there. That's why I talk so much about mindset. That's why I talk so much about the inner voice, because what you believe quietly dictates what you do and what you don't do, what you'll try and what you won't try. So connecting to that inner voice opens up your life for so many other possibilities. Franny says she's beautiful. I am doing great. And yes, you are beautiful. I look forward to catching you live this week. Let's see. Do you acknowledge and celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small they may be? We talk about this all the time. We have these big goals, these big lofty goals that we'd like to accomplish. And sometimes they're so big that we are overwhelmed and we get frustrated and we give up before we get there. The smart way to do it is to break this big thing down into little bite-sized chunks. And every time you bite a chunk, every time you accomplish that piece, you celebrate. It shows you how you're doing. It allows you to see yourself moving towards those goals, and it gives you encouragement. It builds resilience. It builds confidence. So yes, have your big goals, but then you want to have little bitty goals along the way so that you can celebrate and stay energized and keep working towards them. Alicia says, I need to practice acknowledging myself. I think a lot of people do. We do need to practice acknowledging ourselves. There's some, I was on I think it was a LinkedIn event last week. And one of the things that they were talking about is this concept of bragging. And that if you are excited about something that you've accomplished and you bring it to somebody and they cheer you on, you've got a good, genuine person in your corner. If you share that same information with somebody and they get frustrated and they say you're bragging, you're probably dealing with somebody who has a hard time seeing you win. Maybe it makes them feel bad because they haven't accomplished some things that they would like to. But it's typically of somebody who's struggling with jealousy or some sort of internal lack of self-belief that has a hard time cheering on somebody and sees your celebration as bragging. That's a word I wish we could throw out the window. Now, if I take up all the conversation, it's me and you both in the conversation, and you can't get a word in edgewise because all I'm doing is talking about myself, then sure. I'm going too far, and I'm not being a good friend because we're not even having a conversation. I'm just dumping all over you. But if I really have accomplished something and I bring it to you, or you bring it to me, what you've accomplished, we should be able to stop and celebrate that thing and not be, my mom said, the green-eyed monster, and not become the green-eyed monster. We need to get rid of the concept of bragging and talk and be able to talk about the things that we accomplish and share that, because as you accomplish things and you celebrate yourself, you start to realize just how much you've got going on and how well you're doing. We have a tendency to talk about and see more what we haven't done than what we have. But if you stop, I don't know how old you are, but I'll be 55 in about 3 weeks. If I stop and I look back, I have accomplished a lot of things in 55 years. I believe the same is true for every one of us. But we have a tendency not to look at what we've done well, not to look at what we've accomplished. Hey, Eni, welcome. Thanks for joining. Instead, we focus on, I wish I had done this. I wish I had done that. This person is so good at this and I'm not. We just continually just jab at ourselves. We wouldn't do that to a stranger, but it's what we internally do to ourselves. So being able to celebrate the milestones, to enjoy your accomplishments, it's important. That's fuel. That's energy. It's re-energizing, and it'll allow you to keep taking those next steps to move you closer and closer to what it is you're trying to accomplish. So let's see, what's our next question? Are you able to handle criticism and learn from it without letting it affect your self worth? If you don't learn anything else from our time together, I hope you understand that you are a being who has activities, who participates in things, who does things, but who acquires things. But all of those things are not you. They're separate from you. So when you have a bad day, you had a bad day. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. When you responded worse than you would have liked to, that was a bad response. You did something that you wish you hadn't. There may be some consequences, and you have to deal with the consequences for your actions, but your actions are not you. So you can make a mistake. You can make a bad decision, but you also can come back from it. You can apologize. You can do what you can do to make it right. And then you get right back in the game and keep moving forward. What we have a tendency to do is ruminate on that thing for so long that it paralyzes us. We can't move forward because we just can't believe, I can't believe I did that. I had that happen to somebody that I love dearly a few months back. Made a really bad decision. Recognized the moment that it was over, I should not have done that. There are going to be some hard consequences. It was not a smart thing to do. And it became hard to get out of bed. Became hard to think about anything else. She was beating herself up at such a level that internally she was nothing but bruises and broken bones. The consequences never got as bad as they could have, but man, did she rip herself apart. She did make a bad decision. There's no question about that. But my question to her was, can we somehow go backwards and undo that decision? Can we move back in time? It's not going to happen. We haven't mastered that yet. So her time and her energy would have been so much better focused on what can I do now? How can I make this situation right? Who do I need to apologize to? It depends on what your situation is. Sometimes it's just you, but sometimes you actually hurt other people. So you've got to think about, what are the best next steps for me to take in order to improve this mess that I just made? How do I clean it up? Where are my gloves? Where's the cleaning agent? What do I need to do? Does it smell bad? What do I need? How do I fix this? That's where your energy is best spent, not ruminating over the fact that you spilled it, that you made the mess in the first place. Done, over, can't change it, but you can clean it up if you don't allow yourself to get stuck there. That's all I'm going to say about that. But that's an important one. And when we talk about mindset, that's paramount. Focusing on what's next instead of getting stuck in what was. All right, let's see. A couple more questions for you. Oh, and the criticism part. If someone tries to provide you with some constructive feedback, I don't even like the word criticism, but can you take constructive feedback? Can you hear something hard about yourself? You did something, it didn't come out the way you thought, or it didn't impress the world as big as you thought it was. And here comes somebody with some expertise in that, and they said, hey, maybe this, and you immediately get offended. When I was the most easily offended, it was because I didn't think that much about myself. Because I was trying so hard to be as good as I wanted to be, but I didn't feel that good on the inside. So I felt like I was faking it. And I couldn't have any cracks in the armor. I couldn't allow somebody to realize I was faking it. So I didn't have room to make a mistake. So how could they criticize? I had to be perfect. Never succeeded at that perfection thing. But man, did it hold me down for a long, long time. And when you feel yourself needing to be perfect, you have yourself attached to actions and outcomes instead of the spirit of who you are as a person. So you got to figure out how to shake that stuff off of you and realize that when you wake up first thing in the morning, hair uncombed, teeth unbrushed, hadn't began your day, you are already as perfect as you're going to get. Yes, you can clean up the exterior, you can do some things, but the spirit of you, the person that you are, is already there. You're already operating in your greatness. But do you see it? Or do you need all the bells and whistles and all the spit and polish to even feel good about yourself? When you're in that situation, when it takes a lot in order for you just to feel good, you can't handle criticism because that says somebody thinks less of you. That's how you process it. But what it really means is they think enough of you to try and help you accomplish what it is you're trying to do. If that's what they're doing, accept it, incorporate it, take what sticks, take what works for you, and let the rest of it go. But none of it becomes a part of your value, your self-worth. That's the key. Can you hear that criticism? Can somebody tell me, Cassandra, you sure stuttered a lot on today's call. It was hard to keep up with you because you were fumbling around. You didn't sound as prepared. If somebody says that to me, they're probably right. I probably rushed on from one thing into the next. And I can acknowledge that and go, yeah, I need to slow down. I need to make sure that you can hear me. I can work through it. That's different from somebody just taking jabs at you and just somebody who doesn't feel good about themselves. So they have to pick on everybody else. So be discerning and understand where it's coming from, the spirit of where this information is being given from. Take what you need from it, throw away the rest, but none of it is a part of who you are. It's just a part of helping you get where you'd like to go. All right. Do you surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, and distance yourself from those who bring you down? That's important. We're back to this boundaries thing. Boundaries are important, and you're in protecting your energy, protecting your heart, protecting the core of who you are as a person is so important. So when you've identified somebody and you've articulated to them on more than one occasion that whatever it is they're doing is difficult for you to process, they're making life a little hard for you, and they continue to be that way, it's time to create some distance because you are responsible for you. You're responsible for your environment. You're responsible for protecting your peace. So when you get the data, use it. Use it to your advantage to create the life that you desire. All right. Do you prioritize self-care and take care of your physical, emotional, and mental well-being? I hope everybody says a resounding yes. But if you don't, and you're in a phase in life where you're taking care of everybody but you, what are all those people who depend on you going to do when you're so run down, when you can't put one foot in front of the other because you've given all of your energy away? One of the things that Franny says that I love is she recalls her energy. She's putting it out there all day, every day, because she's helping people. She's pouring into our lives. She's trying to help us see where we might be able to improve. But then at the end of the day, when it's time for her to relax, she's calling her energy back. She is putting it all back in, and she is taking care of Franny, and she's disconnecting from us to a certain extent because she has to. She has to take care of herself. Otherwise, she's not going to have anything to give to us. And I'm the same way. A little while ago, I sat still for about 12 minutes and just closed my eyes because I had been on meeting after meeting after meeting after a hard workout this morning. And so I was tired. And I just needed a little bit of time. Even if it meant I was going to be a little late to something, I needed to give myself a little bit of time to just recharge. And what that says to you, what that says to me is I'm important enough to myself to give me what I need. That keep going, dig deep, you can do it. There's a place for that in certain team sports and things like that. But ideally, figure out what your cycle is. Figure out when you need rest, when you need food, when you, whatever it is you need, when you need to plug into other people, figure out what that is and give it to yourself. Because if you're not important to you, even if you are important to other people, you're not going to be able to see it. You're not going to believe it. So it all starts with you. Let's see. Annie says, my joy comes first. Franny says, I take midday long cleansing showers or walks to help herself reset. I mean, great ideas. Tammy says, a great topic. Hello, Tammy. I love you, cousin. I'm so glad to see you. A timely reminder and what I'm focusing on now. I'm so glad to hear that you're focusing on this. All right. And then our last question, because I do have to run and get my work day re-going again. I didn't even get a full lunch hour today. I'm only taking half an hour to do this. This work has been crazy, which means self-care. Couple more meetings, and then I've got to break away and recharge a little bit because I know what today is. So I have to build in those breaks to take care of myself. And I hope that you think enough of yourself to do the same thing. So, last question: are you able to give yourself to forgive yourself for mistakes and more on rather than dwelling on them? We talked about this. So one of the other questions that I asked kind of led down this road. When you make a mistake, do you just dwell in it? Do you sit in that thing? Is it all you can think about? Or do you pick yourself up and go, how do I clean up this mess? So these are the questions. It's printed up on it's printable, what I have here. It's a nice little checklist, something you can pin up and refer back to or use however you'd like. So if any of you guys would like to have this, just DM me and I'll send it right over to you. Because it's something that you can, take notes on or use. Otherwise, like I said, snapshot it, do whatever you need so that you can grab those questions. And I encourage you to answer them today and then come back in a month and answer them again and then again in 6 months, to keep a check on yourself and allow yourself to measure how you're doing in life, because how you're doing in life is so improportionately determined by how you're doing internally, how you feel about yourself. If you do that work, my shirt says mindset is everything. I truly believe that. And that's why we spend the time that we do talking about mindset. We're going to wrap up our conversations today so that I can get back to work. There's no wealth without health. Health is what Annie said. Spot on, 100% correct. So again, I am Cassandra Terry, your manifesting miracle maker. If you guys are having any trouble with the things that we've talked about, I do have a free online course. I believe it's tagged in the comments for Facebook. You can DM me if you can't find it, and I'll send you the link. There's no credit card, there's no nothing. It's just a free mini course to help you work through some of the things that we've talked about today. It's called Transforming Your Inner Critic into Your Inner Advocate. I encourage you. Quite a few people have taken it. I've gotten good feedback. I'd love for you to do the same and let me know what your thoughts are. I am in the process. I'm planning to launch a full-fledged course, the 6 C's to eliminating self-limiting beliefs, on 4/27. Probably before this week is up, I will officially announce it. And for you guys that follow and interact, the course is going to be $427. That's the price of the course, but I'm going to knock a couple $100 off for people who pre-register. It's an online course that you'll be able to take self-paced, but it has all kinds of stuff in it, like this checklist. It has a goal setting guide, all kinds of things that you'll eventually get to after you work on those self-limiting beliefs. So be encouraged, guys. Check in with yourself and know how you're feeling about you. It's important because how you feel about you dictates how you feel about everything else. So do the work. Reach out to me if I can help you in any way, and go and enjoy the rest of your Mindset Monday. I will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central for Transformation Tuesday, when we talk about change and how we can manage it. All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and we will talk tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining.